Have you ever gotten into panic mode at the airport looking for your ID or forgotten to pack your medications or credit card? After what could have been a very costly mistake last year, I've set up 5 different systems to make sure I have absolutely everything I need for my trips, from my chargers to my passports. Let's go. Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you are new here. I am Christy, the Genx Gypsy, and on this channel, we share all the travel tips and advice so you can travel with a lot less stress. And last year, boy, did I have a very stressful experience when I almost missed my bucket list trip to Africa because I totally forgot my passport at home, 3 hours away from the airport. Luckily, I realized this about 18 hours before my flight, and I was able to make the 6-hour round trip drive to retrieve it and still make our flight. But ever since that huge mistake, I have made it a point to have systems in place so something like that never happens again. So today I am sharing my pre-travel systems plan so you can learn from my mistakes. Now, I want to start off with the reason why I forgot my passport, because with everything else for that trip, I was very organized. However, a few weeks before the trip, I had cleaned out and reorganized the drawer where my passport had lived for over 5 years and moved it to a whole different drawer in a whole different room. And it wasn't a drawer that I opened very often. It was clearly an out of sight, out of mind situation. I had totally screwed up the first system I'm going to talk about, which is the permanent home system. This is especially important for your passport because this is an item that you are going to need to keep track of for 10 years. And having a special spot for it that it always lives in when you're not traveling is very important, especially if you decide to move its location like I did. When I returned from Africa, I put my passport back in its new home in the drawer in the office, but I also keep it in its bright purple holder so that it's easy to spot should that drawer become messy over time. My mother keeps her passport in a safe in her hall closet, so she always knows where to find it. It might be helpful if you are finding a new home for your passport to live to go look at it in that place a few times a week for a few weeks to really embed it in your memory where to find your passport. Another memory trick that you could use is to make up a story about your passport and where it lives. Something like, my passport has traveled all over the world, but when it's home, it lives in a safe surrounded by towels. And I know that sounds incredibly silly, but studies have been done that say if you create a story around something you really want to remember, it will stick so much better. I mean, honestly, these days, anything that may even minorly help my memory is worth a try. I'd love to know, where do you keep your passport so you won't forget to pack it? Before we move on to the next system, I do want to thank airalo for sponsoring this video today, because I think airalo is an important resource to use for international travel success, just like these systems. I've been using an airalo eSIM for 2 years now to keep me in touch with the world when I'm traveling, from downloading maps to exploring sites to visit, and of course, the best restaurants to try. Airalo is the app that lets you download a digital eSIM straight to your phone. No physical SIM cards or waiting in lines at the airport. I love being able to preload the airalo eSIM to my phone before I even leave for my trip. And when I land, it is ready to go, which was a huge trip saver last year when we got to Portugal and the customs line took us over 2 hours to get through. I was immediately able to contact our prearranged driver to let him know exactly what the situation was. It's super simple to use. Just download the free airalo app today, choose your destination, install the eSIM in just a few minutes, and activate the eSIM when you arrive at your destination. Download the free airalo app today and use code GEN3 to purchase your eSIM in advance and only activate it when your trip begins. With over 200 countries, regions, and even global plans to choose from, airalo not only saves me money, but gives me confidence that I will have data for my maps, tickets, and communication when I most need it during my trips. A big thank you to airalo for continuing to sponsor this channel. After you download the free airalo app, make sure to use the code GEN3 for $3 off your first eSIM for your next trip. The second system is what I call the launch pad. About a week before any trip, whether it's international or domestic, air travel or a road trip, I designate a spot in my house for all the things. For me, it's usually my ottoman in my living room where everything for the trip is going to land. Anytime I think of something I want to pack that I won't actually be using before I leave, I'm going to put it in that spot. These are things like my chargers, my airplane essentials like a neck pillow, any medications, all of that type of stuff. For clothing, I'm usually gathering those on my rolling rack to keep them separated out too. If it's a trip for a special occasion, I'll add what I need for those events. Recently, I flew to Oregon for a celebration of life for one of my best friends, and she had wanted a Studio 54 disco party to celebrate her amazing life. So the outfit that I wanted to wear for that event was added to the pile before I packed. For that Africa bucket list trip, we needed lots of items that I wouldn't normally pack for a trip, like bug wipes and bandanas, so I had those added to my pile before I left. I find it makes it easier and far less stressful to gather the items over a period of days instead of trying to rush around and find everything over just a few hours. The third system is the photo system. During the same week before the trip, I'll take a photo of my passport's photo page and the last page in the passport. If I happen to have a visa that I'm going to need, I'll take a picture of that too. Sometimes airlines and countries might allow this digital copy as a backup verification if you don't have your passport on you. And more practically, if your passport is lost or stolen while you are traveling abroad, having these photos will dramatically speed up the replacement process at the embassy. I will also take screenshots of my travel insurance information and any accommodations or other reservations that I've made for the trip. I'll save all of these in an album on my phone so it is easy to find and access if I need to. The fourth system is the non-negotiables list. This is one of the new ones that has been put in place after last year's narrowly avoided disaster. This is a short list of about 8 to 10 items that are my non-negotiables for whatever trip I'm going on. These are the things that if I forget them, the trip is either ruined, will cost a lot of money to fix, or the trip just doesn't end up happening. These are things like my passport, of course, my phone, my credit card, medications, travel insurance information, travel adapter, because it is surprisingly hard to find a travel adapter to use in the country you travel to once you are there. We found that out the hard way in Korea. I keep this list as a checklist in my notes app on my phone, and before I walk out the door for any trip, I go through and physically confirm that I have each of the items that I need. I don't mentally check because by that time, when I'm walking out the door, my mind is so full of all the different logistics that I am trying to juggle, I really don't trust my mind anymore. The physical confirmation and check is very important for the system to work. It will literally take about a minute to do, but could save you a tremendous amount of money and time, like in my case, about 6 hours of driving. The fifth system is the day before ritual. This is a travel check-in that you're going to walk through the day before your trip, especially if you have an early morning departure. You want to do this when you are fully awake and perhaps fully caffeinated. You're going to ask yourself the question, if I walked out the door right now, what would be missing? Theoretically, you are doing this once your suitcase is already packed and you have your personal item bag ready to go. I would run through the non-negotiables list but don't check those items off yet. That is still going to be done right before you walk out the door. Verify about 10 times that my passport is in my bag, and I'm going to confirm everything about my upcoming flights and check the weather at the destination one more time. Pre-travel stress is rarely about which pants to pack or which personal item bag to carry. It's never the big things. It's those thousands of little items and to-dos that just pile up with no real structure to pull them together. These systems are, I know, incredibly simple, but they work because they remove the decision making away from when your brain is already overloaded. Luckily for me, I realized my big mistake with time to spare, and we had an incredible trip of a lifetime in Africa with an amazing group of people. But I never want to be faced with that level of stress again. So I am very, very happy to have these systems in place moving forward. I would love for you to share the systems that you use to make sure that your travels go as smoothly as possible in the comments below. I think this is definitely a topic we can all benefit from learning from one another. Don't forget to go download the airalo app and make sure to use the code GEN3 to get $3 off an eSIM for your next trip. Thank you so much for choosing to watch this video today. I hope that you have safe and wonderful travels.